Well, welcome to our newest episode of the Evolution of the Great Cow, the series sponsored by Showbox Sires. We love to bring you our new bulls in our Showbox Sires program with these podcasts that give you information on the cow families and maybe more importantly, the people behind these bulls. So today, along with my partner Mike Duckett in Showbox Sires, it's a pleasure to welcome Tyler Dorian, one of the partners in the dam of this bull we're going to talk about today. And his number is 200HO13139. Shake It is his name. Talking about dancing earlier, I guess maybe that's why we named him that. But Tyler Dorian, welcome to our podcast. Tell us a little bit about you.
I'm the lucky one. I get to show Shakira the dam of the bull Shake It. But apart from that, I mean, how I'm involved in all this. I am the husband of Isabel Jacobs, where Shakira is housed, and we co-own her together. We bought her in 2017 at World Dairy Expo. So she is housed at Jacobs. We have some close friends. There's a Swiss guy that works on our farm that owns a part of her. And there's our good friend Jean-Michel Leblanc at Ferme Mark. One of Jean, the founders of Jacobs, obviously, one of his brothers had vested in some of her too. So we're a group, and Jacobs owns 50% of Shakira. So she's housed at Jacobs and taken care of at Jacobs.
Well, I certainly remember that year because actually as a 2-year-old, she was tied right down below us. And it was a pretty steady traffic of people all week coming to look at her. And finally, when you and the other guys got there later in the week, I remember you guys had her out looking at her and bought the cow. What was obviously she was a great individual, but I'm thinking she's got a phenomenal pedigree for lots of generations. Could you just tell everybody what you were thinking when you bought her?
She's got an incredible pedigree. Back in then, we weren't much of red guys neither, but when I showed up at Madison and I walked around the barns and I seen her, and that night when I went back our bed, Jan came to me and he said, "I seen the best 2-year-old I ever seen in my life." And without him telling me who it was, I said, "Oh, I seen her today too." I said, "I know where she is. She's about 5 rows down from us." Jan said, "Yeah, but they're asking a lot of money." It went from there. We went and got her out on the walk. Jan says, if we buy her, I can own half of her and I'm going to take care of her." So that was kind of where it stood for that night. We thought she was incredible. Thought she had a lot of potential down the road. At first, Jan said he had to own half of her, so I was to come up with the other half of the money. I didn't know how I was going to do that, but I liked her enough that I thought we were going to get it done one way or the other. To be honest, my good friend who has a whole lot more money than me is Tim Abbott. He was one of my first thoughts that I was going to maybe try to suck some money out of him, but in the end, it ended up being all people on our bed that invested in her. And that was kind of what made it fun about the whole project too. And another little bit of a funny story about it is show morning, we had called Isabel and Jan's parents. They followed the shows very, very closely. So they were on the phone that morning wondering what was new and stuff like that. And Jan said, "We bought a cow." Jan's mom, first question was, "How much did you pay for her?" And Jan's response was, "We'll talk about that when we get home." So we never ever told him until we did get back home. She ended up it was 5th that day, and then was never beaten again until this year when she was trumped by Footloose.
It's definitely a lesson that sometimes even a lot of money's okay to spend on a great cow.
No, that's for sure. I mean, she's still the best investment I have ever made, apart from my wife, but apart from that.
But Mike and Tyler, I'm going to interject and go off the rails a little here. Our past 2 podcasts, Mike, have been with people that invested a lot of money in a great cow. And I think our listeners are who cares what the number is? The bottom line is, Mike, the podcast we recently did and this podcast with Tyler, they stepped outside and spent a ton of money on a great cow. Mike, for our listeners, I want you and Tyler both to tell us a little bit. Why can you do that? How come it'll work? And Mike, you start if you would.
If you go into and you find that special cow, and special meaning lots of generations of great pedigree cows that perform well, they flush, when people look at their name, they know they're buying a piece of lots of generations of great breeding and great cows, and you take and work with them and do all the stuff to help market them. It makes it pretty easy. You might have to go a long route, or it could be a quick hit, but for the most part, if you invest in great people, great cows, and great pedigrees, you can make money in this business. You know, whether it's you spend 200,000 or whatever, if you go into it with a plan, I think if you stay with it and keep doing the things that you do best, you will make money with a great cow. Like they've done with Shakira, it's a lot of money. They took her home, took great care of her, marketed her, promoted her, and used all that stuff, and it all worked out for the good. Yeah, great cows are worth a lot of money, and it's just the way it is.
And Tyler, give us your view. And I know you've talked about why you bought Shakira, but you've bought a lot of high-priced cows, and you've sold quite a few high-priced cows. Why do you think cows are a good investment? And people, our listeners that are wondering how we do this all, I think it's important to tell them, some of the tricks of the trade. Tyler, you've been in this business a long time, owned a lot of great cows. Give us your views.
Never really think about it too much, but I know back in 2013, we owned Maya that was Supreme Champion at Madison, and we bought her as a 2-year-old, and she was a great cow with a really, really good pedigree right back. We had confidence in her as a 2-year-old back then. We stepped up to the plate, and that cow, like a little bit like Mike said it, she was a little bit of a longer term cow before we made money, but we seen potential in her. We kept her around. We showed her 4 years in a row without always being runner up. And then as a mature cow, she stepped up to the plate. And that day at that time, she was compared to some of the greatest cows there was. Obviously, things turned around. She made some good daughters. She made the dam of the Bull Master that's everybody's talking about right now. So, I mean, she comes full swing around and then started to make a lot of money for us too. So it's all about, you got to have a lot of faith in your own eyes, and I guess the great people in the business that you work with, their eyes too. No, for sure, there's money to be made in those great cows, but like Mike said, sometimes you got to be a little bit more patient. Sometimes you can get lucky right off the bat. It's tough too. I mean, we ask a lot of these cows. I mean, we try to give them back every year. We're doing in vitro flushes on them. We're doing regular flushes on them. We're trying to make money with them, but we're trying to do everything. So they're worth a lot of money. The cows that stick it out and get the job done, they're worth a lot of money. I'm the lucky one in our partnership because, I mean, they do most of the work with them since they're at Jacobs.
Well, and I think you both have spoken, and again, we got to get back to our bull, but I think it's important for our listeners to understand how, some of these things come apart and you come together. And you mentioned Master and Maya, and think about the sons and the impact Shakira can have, and with us with Footloose and Doc, and those great cows do great things. So Tyler, let's get back to Shake It. People know Shakira. You referenced it before. Just walk us through her career and her championships that she won that were the major ones that you got to wear the ribbons on, Tyler.
Well, in 2017, when we bought her, like I said, she was 5th at Madison that year. A month and a half later, she was intermediate champion at her fall show in Quebec here, the international show. First junior 2-year-old at the Royal that year. The next year she came back. She was intermediate champion at Madison. She got a little bit sick on us. I won't tell any lies. She got a little bit sick on us after Madison. We didn't take her to the Royal that year. She was already intermediate champion at Madison. There's a lot of rumors out that she was done. She was gone. She came back 2 years later, I guess, as a 5-year-old. First year, COVID year. Or no, sorry. The year before that, she was champion at Madison. As a 5-year-old, she didn't get back to... She only ever showed back at the Royal 2 years ago when she was champion at the Royal. And she was champion at Supreme at Madison twice. Up until this year, she had never been beaten again ever since its junior 2-year-old. And then this year, she was trumped, like I say, once again, by Footloose at Madison.
I don't think we're stretching to say since Charity's Day, and we'll talk more about the Footloose Shakira battle before we're done, but there hasn't been a more dominant show cow, really probably since the days of Charity. Tyler, hats off to you and your team for getting that done. I don't know, Mike and I, she was kind of a ghost for us. We kept seeing her in our sleep, but we always loved the cow. And one of the things, Mike, you and I said when we started Showbox Sires, we had to have a son of Shakira, and we're thrilled to be working with Semex on this bull.
Every great cow has a different personality or whatever. Can you just describe Shakira's? Is she a cow that's easy to take care of?
I always said Shakira's best quality was her personality. By far, you can do anything with the cow. The kids can do anything with the cow. The kids tag her along around the farm. Doesn't matter. You never have to worry about who's gonna go on the halter. Shakira, anybody can take her anywhere. She's as quiet as she can be. I've never seen the cow run in my life. It's just takes everything in strides. Been healthy for us lately. I mean, we had a couple of bad goes with her, but I mean, that's the luck of every cow, right? She got sick on us a couple of times. We got her back healthy. She's as healthy now as she's ever been at 9 years old. I think she'll be 10 years old in March now, and she's as healthy as ever right now. So, but definitely the best part of Shakira is her personality. Loves to go to the show. Loves to walk in the ring. You never ever see the cow take a bad step. Never have to fight with the cow to walk in the ring. At show day, she just gets up and starts eating. Hardly ever lays down on show day. She's just kind of the cow on the end of the bed that you can forget about. So
you guys doing a lot of embryo work now, or what's she up to?
Yeah,
now?
This year, since she calved, because she had not a big break last year, she calved in this year. We kind of kept it going all summer, just kind of mediocre. Didn't do a whole lot of work with her because we wanted to she was a 9-year-old cow, and we wanted to get her back out this fall for one last run. I say one last run. You never know yet. She's as healthy now as she has ever been. So no, we didn't do a whole lot before Madison and the Royal, but now we started. And actually, Yan did her a couple of first times just to see some of our new upcoming bulls that we have out of our system too. He did her to the Bruins again, and I think he did her to the New Bull League at Semex too, and in vitro. And then we will work on her for a while, and we'll see come middle of next summer if she's healthy enough, whether we'll think about breeding her back or not again. So yeah, she'll be on an extensive IVF program here for the next 6 months.
Well, Tyler, our bull that we're working with at Semex, Shake It, he came about by combining what I think is the perfect gene combination to put with this cow. Have No Fear is kind of a fun bull to use on this cow because it includes Doc and Lambda and the Della family from Reagan Crest. So many great cows. When you look at this bull's pedigree and look at all the great cows and all the 95-point cows and all the All-Americans, I don't think there's a bull in AI that'll have any more great cows in the pedigree. Tell us about the mating and what your thoughts are on this, because I know you've got some females too.
I guess, most of the mating decisions are left mostly up to Yan, but he's a type guy that likes to throw some milk into the bulls too. Shakira has always milked great for us, but like in her pedigree, not bulls with a lot of milk in the pedigree, but she's milked great, and her biggest feature is her components. The cow has now 6 lactations, averages 5% fat and 3.7, 3.8 protein. Throw a bull in like that on Shakira. What I think is kind of special about it is he come back, and I know the Canadian numbers a little bit better than I know the American numbers, but he's a bull that comes back at plus 12 for conformation, plus 10 on mammary system, 0 for stature, which for me is a really big thing, because when you get the Doc family and the Shakira family put together, we could have come out with a bull that's plus 12 for stature, and then all of a sudden, everybody's worried that they're going to get too big of cows all the time too. So I think it's a really a neat combination to do that can be really used anywhere, like in commercial herds too, for guys that want to help their fat and protein, want to maybe put a little bit of type back into the bull, and but have lots of milk, but want to put a little bit of type back into their herd, because that's a little bit of a spot where we're going. I think maybe too much the opposite way is getting away from too much type in these bulls with so much milk. I think he's a bull that's kind of safe to use a little bit everywhere. And then, obviously for the show guys, I think he's a great bull that's solid all the way around. They'll calve out to be great cows. He's great rump, great feet and legs, great udders, and average stature. So I think he's really a bull that fits all the boxes.
I think, Tyler, you said too many people are worried about a list, whether a bull comes up on a list, whether he's the top 10 type bull or top whatever. But if you use some logical thinking and a cow like Shakira with a great, great pedigree all the way back, yeah, it's older bulls and stuff. Shakira's made huge records and does just fine. But then you add some milk off of the bull side. He's a bull that can get used on, a lot of these farms that have tons of milk and stuff to bring a little type back to it. And I think, yeah, he's not going to show up on the top 10 type bull or whatever, but I don't know that that's really what we all really need. If you use a little common sense on breeding and picking traits like what this bull could pass along, I think it's very important to use a bull like this to add some type back to the pedigrees. And what bulls do you see this bull working good on in the popular bloodlines right now?
I was thinking about that this morning. I was thinking, that this question's gonna come up for sure. I don't know, like he's a little, apart from Lambda, he's a little bit of an outcross bull to the other one, to the other bulls we see in the unit sort of thing, when you get the sire stack behind Shakira, and then you get the sire stack behind the Doc with the Jedi and stuff like that in. He's a little bit of an outcross. Yeah, there's Lambda in there, You could start naming the bulls. But I don't know if there is a real list that I don't see where you can't use the bull really. So, before I start to nitpick what bulls I guess we could say we could use him on, I think you can kind of use them pretty safe right across the board.
And I'll let Mike comment on his thoughts. But one thing that we probably didn't mention, we got Apple, Snapple, and Apple, but then we forgot in our pedigree talk to talk about Ocalibra, one of the greatest show cows anywhere in the world, which is on the other side of her sire pedigree. And then now you bring in Lambda and Doc and the Della family. Like you said, the outcross part of this, yeah, there's a little bit of Lambda in here, but not near as much Lambda blood as a lot of bulls.
I think we can use all these bulls that are out there that are so high in milk and great milk bulls, but lack a little bit of confirmation. I think he can be used safely in all of them because he's borderline for milk, you would say, but what he's going to bring in components will help a lot of these high milk bulls that are lacking a little bit in components and type. So I think he'll help on them. And then when you get to the show side of things, just going to be a really solid bull that'll make you good cows every time. Still plus 12 for confirmation here in Canada. So he's going to he'll make some show ones.
I think when you look at his bottom side with Apple, I don't think there's ever been a cow that's completely changed a breed like Apple changed the red breed. She pretty much done it herself. And then when you look at the top side in Della, all the good that cow done for the breed. So you put those two together, I don't know that you can ask for a better recipe there. So it's just like you said, I don't know that there's a certain kind that you can just kind of use the bull and I think you're going to be okay. Enough production and enough type and to where we all talk about balance. That's kind of what balance is.
That's right. I think like the plus 12 in type here in Canada, that insinuates balance. He's not plus 17, but plus 17, you're not going to get the balance. I think really plus 12 is where you need to kind of sit, and then with everything else being so good on his proofs.
I've got his US numbers here in front of me. He's plus 300 of milk. He's big fat, big protein. He's 3 points of type, over 3 points for udders, and he's just over 1 for stature, which we all know that that's a place that needs to be improved. And we do have cows that get a little too tall, whatever, but they're strong. A right side linear, I think the bull can get used on a lot of different bloodlines.
And he's through. The bull, like in his genomics in Canada, he comes out as like incredible for locomotion and mobility. But you see that when you see Shakira walking around the ring for the size of cow she is. There's probably not a cow that has a better locomotion and mobility than that cow herself. So it's kind of neat to see.
Well, we've had a fun discussion, certainly about the bull and how to use him and the great pedigree behind him. And Mike and I think at Showbox with our Semex program, we think this can be our signature bull, and he can do more for our program than anything that's come along for a while. I want to wrap this discussion. I think our listeners will appreciate this. Tyler and Mike, both, we've all competed hard at the shows, and one thing people might not realize is Tyler and Isabel and their family come vacation at our house in Vermont in the summer, and we've all spent a lot of time together, and it's a very, very deep friendship. And I think Shakira and Footloose I don't think I'm stretching it to say they're the greatest pair of cows to ever battle for half a decade that there's been. And I'll challenge anybody. There's been maybe more great cows and different cows, but have there ever been two cows that for 5 years went at it as hard as these two cows? I don't think so. So, obviously we've got great investment, we've got great pride, and we've got great energy for these cows. It's very competitive, but I think this year at World Dairy Expo, Mike and I love Shakira, and I think you've got great admiration for Footloose. But what you two did at World Dairy Expo, many people around the world have told me was the greatest moment ever at World Dairy Expo. Tell us how that went down, Tyler, in your view.
I'll let Mike go first on this one. I'm going to see how far he's going to throw me under the bus here before I tell the real story.
All right, that's a good idea. Let's let Mike tell the lies and you correct him, Tyler.
Well, that'll be the first time you've let me go first, Tyler. So we'll start with that. Been a good last probably 5 years. Footloose and Shakira in my opinion, they are the two greatest cows to battle back and forth. And Shakira, a cow that you got to admire. She does it, comes back and back and back. And even though they're great cows, Jacobs and us, we've got so many similarities. We love our cows. We're passionate about our cows. It's about families and going out, and we're very competitive people, both Jacobs and us. But we have a mutual respect, and we have that mutual love for cows. For us, it's been fun. We come out ahead one time, and as we were in the ring, that was probably the most fun I've ever had at a show, is showing this year Footloose and the way that all ended. This year's expo was about Shakira and Footloose. That was very special, and we appreciate the back and forth competition, and we love both cows. It's been a good few years, and who knows? Maybe we'll do it again someday, but it's not over.
Yeah, I predict that there's going to be another battle. So I think neither cow is done. But Tyler, give us your rendition of that.
You talked about our friendship between me and you, Tim, you and Sharon. Me and Mike, we go back a long time. Not a lot of people know, but he's always helped us. Every chance we need anything, help to get to Madison or around Madison. It goes right back to 2008, I guess, when the first year we were allowed back to the Madison after the mad cow disease. When we met, probably, I guess, with Frosty up there in the old, I think it was Barn 11, was it?
Yeah.
Or whatever it was. So our friendship goes back a long ways, and we have a great deal of respect for Mike and Julie. And I joke with Mike, with Julie and Sharon the morning after the show. I said, I was just really leaning in to whisper in his ear that it wasn't his fault the judges made a mistake. But he was so excited that he won that he had to hug me. So So it was all good. So that's the real story behind the whole thing. But no,
Well, he must
it
have
was a
been
very
excited.
emotional moment. It was a really it was an emotional moment for me. I mean, we appreciate the Shakira and Footloose so much. So when I thought it was only fitting. I mean, I guess if I would say if I have to get beat by somebody, I'd just soon get beat by Tim and Mike. so
Well, we
no, it
have
was
very little experience, Tyler, beating you, but
yeah.
but
It was a great show and a great moment.
well, I appreciate you guys talking about it. And Tyler, when you came down the rail with Shakira and you dropped her halter and hugged Sharon and I and did the same thing, in a world of competition and pushing and trying to overachieve, that it was a great moment for our industry. And I think we need that. I think we need to tell the world just how passionate we are about this, but we also are great friends. So thank you for that. Mike, any thoughts from you to wrap this up?
No, I think it's another bull that we're excited about offering because, like I said before, it's cow families on top and bottom side, great cows, but it's even better people that's involved in these cows. I think that makes it very special for us here at Showbox to offer these kind of bulls.
Well, thanks, Mike and Tyler. This has been a great discussion. Certainly for Showbox Sires to partner with this bull with Jacobs and the team that owns the cow. For Mike and I, it's a great thrill because this is exactly what Showbox Sires is about, and we're pretty excited to sit around on our Showbox and have discussions someday about Shake It and how the bull is breeding. Thank the guys for this, and I encourage you to get on and learn more about him. So this bull is through the Semex Showbox program. He will be available through Semex this winter. Actually, the Semex will have semen ready for him so you can make your December calves. You can get your orders in. He will be ready the 1st of February, so you can get him home and start IVFing and make your calves by him. We thank you for joining us on this edition of the Showbox Sires series on the releasing of our bulls. And again, this bull is 200 HO 13139 Shake It, son of one of the great show cows to ever grace the ring, Shakira, coming to Showbox Sires.